Hey guys, welcome to Redline Talk Show. I'm here today with Ilyana, and our special guest came all the way from Buffalo. His name is Emin Egriu, who is an Albanian activist, political advisor, entrepreneur, and so many other things. Welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me.
Welcome to the show.
I'm excited to be here, to be honest with you.
Thank you, Emin. I know you for a while, a few years going back as one of the activists, and always trying to do something with the Albanian community and get us inspired to do different things. And tell us a little bit about your background.
Well, I'll start with yours because when you guys started Albanian Roots, it was such a thrill to see something happening about here.
Yeah.
Instead of always crying about back home.
Yeah.
And to put the Albanian-American community on the map the way you guys did is impressive till this day. Those parades are nothing but a great feeling, great hope for the children that have come here, because when I came here, it was even hard to mention you're Albanian because nobody knew who you were.
No, they thought we were Armenian or Romanian.
And majority of the Albanians would say, just to keep the conversation
like,
short,
I'm
I'm Italian.
Italian,
you know?
Oh my God. Okay.
But
it's better than saying I'm Greek, so I guess.
I'm thrilled really with Albanian Roots, even till this day. I know it's tough in our community to keep them energized all the time.
Yeah.
But don't forget, you are the new generation, at least the generation behind me. Not that far, but irrelevant. The next generation is coming.
Yeah.
And if we don't do some of the things we're doing now, the next generation is going to forget where they came from. Yes, we see a lot of Americans are interracial.
Yeah.
Italian, Irish, German, Jewish, whatever the case is. That's all they could remember about themselves is that nationality that their parents were. But we also want to keep the tradition alive because we're all over the world. And right now in America, we're just as much population as we are in Albania.
Probably more.
Well, that we know of.
Yeah. Yeah. So that's a good point. And that's one of the things that I struggle with, right? Because I was born there.
Right.
And I spent 13 years of my childhood over there. Then I came here. Then my adult life, I got spent here and I got involved in the community. But I always had my mind back home. And I always worry about the next generation, as you said, because if we don't if you don't keep the tradition alive, the culture, the language, eventually it's going to phase away. And we're not going to have any identity left. And for a small population like we are, because currently we are in Albania maybe
2.7, something like that.
No,
6.
2.4, I would say.
Okay.
We used to be 3.2 at one point, past 30 years ago. So you can see the migration already. It's been more than half, or it's going to be half of the Albanians are living outside of Albania at the moment. And if we slowly try to assimilate and forget about our identity, you're not going to have a country left at some point.
Well, we'll start with us, because I know you were born here, right?
Second generation. My mom was born here.
And even though we had a small community, we never lost our pride.
No, we did not.
We actually were more prouder than you guys were back in Albania.
That is true.
Being Albanian here.
Yes, that is true.
So it's just a matter of keeping the culture alive, and that's what happened over the years. The battle over getting Albania to be free, the battle of the way the Yugoslavian government was suppressing the Albanian community back in those days. Those are also energies that we had within us as children, me as a child, because my father and your father both fought for the Albanian rights to be heard, for the independence of Kosovo to be a republic, not a country. They never imagined it to become a country. Here we are today, Kosovo being a country of its own. It's a matter of fighting for our people continuously, whether we're here or there. But we also have to do something about that, because even though that the communism disappeared, the mentality of it hasn't really totally became a democratic system.
Yeah.
There's still a lot of things that need to be fresh, and best way to do it is a generation that's been taught somewhere else,
Yeah.
that is ambition and that is patriotic about his homeland. And it's going to take men and women of that character that's going to bring Albania to where it belongs, because that is some beautiful, beautiful land, beautiful history, beautiful people.
Yeah.
Except a little bit too proud when we can make it
and too loud
with real
sometimes.
joy
Yeah.
where people are really successful. Just like we're trying to be here,
Yeah.
we can do that over there too. And I'm looking forward for you to do something over there.
I'm going to try, but you know very well. Well, maybe you don't. But I'm hearing a lot of information from there that it's a very aggressive atmosphere currently over there, and because two parties are fighting for power, obviously. But I have hope.
If you're looking for aggression, just stay in America, because we have the same problem here when it comes to politics.
I guess maybe it's the nature of the business.
It's the nature of the business. It's the nature of the system controlling what they have going. It can be broken. It takes splinters.
Okay.
And it takes energy. It takes a lot of sacrifice, believe it or not.
Yeah, I believe that.
You would have to sacrifice not only yourself, you're going to have to sacrifice your family and many other things for you to break those doors open. And you'll find out at the end, even if nothing comes out of it, be honest with you, you'll be proud of it, because you kept it alive. You brought issues to the table.
Yeah.
And they might steal those issues from you because they're good ideas.
That's okay.
But at the end of the day, that's what you really want.
Yeah, exactly. I don't mind that. As long as they're implementing those ideas, it's fine. Doesn't matter who tells them.
That's what I've gained out of a lot of things that I brought to the table. It's happening.
Yeah.
Things that everybody was saying, where you going with this? And I'm going where it should be going. And today, my local government and the former congressmen and all that have been working with me to figure out how to address some of those issues, because at the end of the day, it's what the people want.
Right.
And the issues that you're going to bring forward is what the people want. They're tired of corruption. They want true democracy. They want good paying jobs.
Yep.
They want good education and a good healthcare system. Those are the basic platforms that they want. And they want open borders.
Yeah.
They don't want to be isolated. We had the freedom of traveling wherever we want. They should have that same freedom.
Yeah.
You ran for U.S. Congress in New York. What was that experience like as an Albanian-American candidate in the American political system?
I got to experience it in many different directions. And I'm going to try and be realistic about it, We have hope, but we don't have belief.
Explain.
That's
we don't believe that a person can do it, so on and so on. We had some candidates here. Okay, one or two did it. They did a minor seat. But at the end of the day, they give up on them. The energy is in this generation of my generation is actually feeding the second generation not to bother with it.
Okay.
We all want to see one of our own up there, but at the end of the day...
Oh, and that's where the hope comes. So
that's where the
hope someone will be there,
right?
But we don't believe that we can get there.
That's the problem. And that is not true. Maybe not me, but back when I first started, I don't know if you recall, I wanted to energize my community to start running for office.
Yeah.
Especially here. Believe it or not, I believe if I was here in Staten Island, with the amount of community, or in Brooklyn, that we had, and the way I organized other communities to support me, I know that we would have had a congressman here. But we got to stop judging people and start getting them into office. If that person ain't right, we could replace them. Can start getting better people into the office.
Right.
And that's the same thing you're gonna face in Albania. Okay, what party are you with? Well, this party is not the general party.
Yeah.
But guess what? They're getting seats. Look at over here. You have the Tea Party, very right-winged.
Yeah.
But guess what? In 10, 12 years, they took over the Congress, which is today Donald Trump.
Oh, wow. Really?
Think about it.
You think he's the Tea Party?
That's how this came about. The aggressive right wings.
Wow. Okay. Interesting.
And now we have the left side.
Yeah.
Ocasio-Cortez, you have
Okay.
Bernie Sanders and a few
Right,
other
right,
parties.
right.
Now, they're not that powerful on the left.
But what do you call those guys?
It started as a left wing,
Extreme left wings?
extreme left wings, and they're not too extreme. They're trying to stay in the middle right now because they're working with the party. They're not totally outside, but the Tea Party,
Yeah.
with 10% of the population, ended up taking over the party.
Wow.
All you need is 10% of the people to be on your side, believe it or not,
Okay.
because you have 10%. You just got to be able to get to them,
Yeah.
to have them raise their voice, because we all come with family, we all come with friends, and we all come with a big mouth.
Yeah.
And it takes people to talk.
Yeah.
It takes people to believe. Now, as far as our community, I have to be thankful because a lot of people did try to help me. Okay? But then again, I said we live mostly on hope instead of action. Now, the last couple of rounds, I decided to leave our community alone because I realized that they're really not ready for it. At the same time, they felt I was too far away. What's he going to do out of Buffalo?
Yeah.
It's not Buffalo, it's Washington. What are you going to do out of Fier? It's not Fier. It's Albania, Tirana.
Yeah.
It's Congress. That addresses all the people. Yes, it brings some money to my community,
Yeah.
but at the end of the day, it's them that are making the general laws. It's them that are making the final decisions.
Well, you're part of decision making, right? That's important. Yeah.
So any representative that is anywhere in this country
Yeah.
that we have running somewhere, we should all support and jump on his back.
So, what is your opinion on the current state of the diaspora voting rights in Albania?
Oh, that should be fully implemented and stay that way, because we could make a difference. We need to get out and vote to make the difference instead of just cry about what they're doing.
Yep.
The reason why they're doing it is because we're not involved.
I want to talk about that though, because
Okay.
we got the chance this year to register and vote as a diaspora. While I'm still okay with the number, 250,000 registered to vote in all of the diaspora, which is Italy, Greece, Germany,
Okay.
UK, and US, which is still a very good number. But it could have been a lot higher.
Still can be.
People did not, I think, either pay attention to it or they decided to not even get involved, which to me kind of hurts a little bit, because if you have an opportunity to partake in this decision making for your country, you should take it. You know, so I'm a little bit disappointed in the numbers, especially in the U.S., where only 24,000 registered. It could have been a lot higher.
You're facing the same challenges I did with diaspora, with them in general. What are you going to do for them here?
That was not. That's
Like,
that's not
like
always
I
going
was,
to be the question.
yeah, but I was facing that. What is he going to do for us in Buffalo?
Okay.
Okay, this is where I'm coming. They're
Yeah.
going to have hope. But at the end of the day, are they going to come out? And that is the message that needs to be relayed to our community. You want a difference over there, get out and vote. Get involved. It doesn't cost you nothing to vote. As a matter of fact, after you vote, you can go have a decent conversation about it.
Yeah.
They love talking about it.
Yeah.
So do something about it. In other words, vote. And I know they don't know you as much. You've been here how many years
27 years.
now? Okay, 27 years. You got to promote yourself over there, but you get 5,000 votes out of here.
Oh,
You get 5,000 votes out of here. Example, or out of diaspora, I should say.
Out of diaspora,
Yeah.
it's tough. Very tough.
But that's who you got to
I mean,
target.
it's you need to dedicate time to it to get that, and I think with
Well,
such
you
a
know,
short amount of
Obama
time-
started the media.
Yeah.
You just got to dedicate some time to your media and let it run its toll.
Yeah.
Because
yeah,
we
of course.
can't shake every hand that's out there.
Yeah.
So how would you respond to the skeptics out there about diaspora candidates?
Wait a minute now. Wait a minute to the skeptics. This ain't to you, and this ain't to anybody personal. That's my country too. Okay? I care about where I come from. Maybe I care more than you do. The reason why I would say that is because I have it in my blood,
Yeah.
and I miss it. And I want to see it be something tremendous. Anybody that denies us that are here with our education here and the system that we live in here and to see how it works is denying themselves freedom. So don't be skeptic just because your children are here. I am their child. So are you.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's a good point.
I'd rather send my children over there and help them straighten their act out instead of being labeled as one of the countries that is fraud, not fraud, corrupted.
Yeah. I mean, yeah.
Corruption is in the United States too.
Oh, 100%.
Okay, but let's get rid of those labels. Let's put some eligible people that
Yeah.
will do and have the connections that we have here in the United States.
Exactly.
So
I'm not talking about each other.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm talking about the connections with Congress, Senate,
Yeah.
local governments, state governments, Washington. That's a powerful connection to have from your children here. Whether it's here, Italy, England, Germany, these are people that are made themselves something here, and now they want to go back and see it flourish over there. So you're denying your own children to come back and grow?
Yeah.
They're wrong.
I mean, in a way, we're ambassadors, right?
We definitely are.
We're a strong ambassadors because
We
we
definitely
live
are.
here. We know the people, like you said. We know we have political influence at the end of the day.
And we want to show this country that we are good people, that we
Yeah.
can make things happen.
But you also bring your experience too. I feel like, as you said, we were brought up in a system. We know how to follow the rules and do the right thing and talk about freedom, like you said. We got to bring those values back there, and get them educated with that and tell them that this is normal. It's not supposed to be, it's
Look,
a right.
We don't want to take away our culture. We're proud of our culture.
Yeah.
We love to keep that going, just like it's been going on for thousands and thousands of years. And if we don't have that connection with each other, we will lose that culture. Then we're all going to say, okay, you know what? They don't care about us, or we don't care about them.
Yeah.
No, we have to.
Well, if you think about it, the Albanians from diaspora, they took the issue of what was happening in Kosovo and brought it to light to the Albanians. I'm going to speak for the Albanians in America because I actually watched this and lived through this as a young girl. And as you mentioned earlier, my father was one of the activists that were leading demonstrations in Washington and New York to bring
I don't know if you know, they were the first.
Who?
Your father, my father, and them. They were the first to raise the flag and burn the Yugoslavian flag and fight for the rights of the Albanian community because everybody else was scared to death.
They were scared. I remember my father was on the radio channels. He was speaking about the catastrophes of what was happening there and all the massacres and just being there in front of the eyes of the American politicians to wake up. So that is the power. That's powerful, right? That's powerful to have Albanians in the diaspora.
These are the
to be
forgotten
able to
heroes.
represent your people back home.
You know that these are the forgotten heroes. These are the original splinters that woke up the rest of the society at the end. When they were first doing it, I remember, just like you, I was raised by it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was 4 years old walking in demonstrations.
I was actually personally protecting them from that government because they attempted they left my father for dead once in 1981 here. He ended up in the hospital. He lost so much blood. It's a good thing he was a drinker. No, they said the alcohol saved his life. He lost that much blood. No, at that evening. But irrelevant to that is those splinters that made the change that fought for Kosovo. And today, look at it.
Yeah.
Yes, we still have problems and trying to, but those problems are not going to stop unless we go back.
Yeah.
Unless we bring our experience here, our democracy here. Forget about history. Let's work on today and tomorrow and how we can make things
So
better.
what the future?
Yes.
Yeah.
That's what we have to really work on, because if we talk about before our enemies, you know, there's another statement about enemies. Sometimes your worst enemy could be your own.
Oh yeah, that's true.
Okay? So let's forget about all that. Let's not teach our children negative. Let's teach the positive.
Yeah.
Right.
Let's bring the peace among the Balkans, which it deserves. A lot of those other races that were going through the chaos, a lot of those families didn't want no part of it, but they're stuck. Just like a lot of Albanians didn't want no part of it, but they're stuck. Let's go back and bring some freedom. Freedom
and hope.
Yeah.
I think that's definitely. I'm very hopeful. To be honest with you, I feel like. I feel like people there are already tired of the two political system and the parties and the same people being going on rotation for many years. I think they're looking for outside people to come in.
They are
with a different view.
The most educated left them.
Yeah.
Those that were able to do some good. The new generation is really not there. Only the ones that stood behind, because Albania had a very educated system.
Yeah.
They were all educated. They came here, did a little school, and now they're professors here. They're holding big offices. They're bankers. They're everything here. And everybody left. We got to try and create a better economy over there.
Yeah.
Which that is a must. Without an economy, it's very difficult to convince people to go back. Yes, there's quick cash. But I'll bring you a little history about how
long-standing economy and also improvement of their healthcare system as well.
Healthcare system.
Because that's one of the big reasons
It's a
why
big
when I
issue.
speak to people and I say, would you ever go back or would you ever, want to live there? And they were like, no, because of the healthcare. So most of the reasons is the healthcare system.
Well, we have that same problem here in
We
the United
do.
States.
And I tried to explain that, but
People don't understand that, general healthcare is very beneficial to everybody.
Yeah.
You might have money in your pocket now, but go get sick and tomorrow you'll have to sell your house to keep alive instead of having a general plan. And because most of the seniors in the United States ended up selling their properties because they needed care.
yeah.
And they couldn't even leave what they worked for all their lives to their children because
They got sick.
But I mean, people don't realize that
They
when
don't
you
realize that.
when you go into, you're signing up for
they
Medicare.
think it's a communist thing. It has nothing to do with communism. It has nothing to do with communism.
Yep. They have to sign
Even
their
during
house away if you
communism,
have-
people
if you
used to
own
play
property.
doctors privately to get taken care of. So
Okay.
that's got nothing to do with anything. Socialism is a little bit too aggressive. America doesn't need that. Democratic socialism works as long as it stays democratic.
Yeah.
And with a little capitalism. Without capitalism, it all
I
falls
think there
apart.
has to be a balance, right? I think it has to be a balance of all different components, which is socialism, capitalism.
Well, the United States was based on the middle grounds from
Right.
both parties.
Yeah.
Right now, we're kind of breaking that left and right, and that's what's hurting us. And till we get back in balancing and accepting what one group needs and another group needs, because at the end of the day, when somebody needs something, you really got to provide it.
We can talk about that because I feel like what's a good system is a two-party a good system, right? And I honestly, I don't think so because it's either one or the other. I feel
It's not a good system.
We should switch from that mentality to have a one-party system, which is let's work towards the problems that we have, right?
Democracy,
each
term
problem,
limits is a good system.
yes,
Anybody that stays anywhere more than 8 years becomes too influential in the government. It controls it, whether it's here or there. Term limits is the way to go.
yeah, but it's not practiced here. You have Senate seats, people stay there for a lifetime,
Term limits should be in the Senate, should be in Congress,
everywhere.
everywhere.
Yeah,
Now,
I
if
agree.
let's say I'm a legislator,
Yeah,
and now I want to be a senator, okay, my 8 years are up, run for senator.
it's a different office.
Yeah, grow.
Yeah,
You're allowed to grow.
I agree. Yeah,
But not to stay somewhere and control it forever.
yeah.
Like we had some congressmen that were there for years and still 30,
They're
40
dying in
years.
their seats.
They're dying in
Essentially,
their seats, and that's
that's what I don't like. And I feel like
same thing back home.
Yeah,
Okay, I ain't got nothing against any of them. Whoever the president is over there, to me, he's my president at the time.
yeah,
But 8 years is enough.
yeah,
Go. Give it to somebody. Let somebody else come in. Let new ideas flow.
yeah.
Yes, you did a good job, but 8 years should be enough.
And I think 8 years should be enough time for you to get done what you need to get,
Yeah,
what you
definitely,
promised to get done.
definitely.
And then after that, your promise expires, in my view, right?
Yep.
So it's a good point, but I feel like it's very hard to switch that mentality from the people there because they're so
Because
used
they're so used to living off of it.
they're so used to the same person, and we idolize leaders, right? And that's, I think, part of the problem too. If you're idolizing a certain leader,
I don't think
it's not gonna go away.
I don't think it's so much about idolization. I think it's more about security. You're my leader. I got my position.
Right. Yeah.
I lose you, I lose my position.
Yeah.
Right.
So it's broader than just you, and that's the problem. You see, here in the United States, civil service job, they can't fire you. They can take you away from the director's job or position, but they can't fire you. Basically, I think that is also needed to protect the employees
protection,
over there.
Right. You're talking about government employees.
Yeah,
Okay.
they got to do the civil service test. They
Yeah.
gotta,
Yes, that's a problem.
that's a
Yeah.
secure job instead of depending on your leader by itself.
Yeah.
That's how you get rid of corruption.
And that's how they technically control the votes, because essentially all the administration votes for the same party.
Yeah.
Which right there and then the system is rigged, right? Because it should be apolitical. If you're working in a government office, you then should not have any political loyalty. But that's a separate conversation.
Let me ask you a couple of questions.
Sure.
Okay. What changes do you want to see in Albania? So give me three basic changes.
Sure. To me, I want to focus on three things, which is one is the healthcare system,
Okay.
which is actually very bad in my city. My cousins, they were sending me pictures about the current hospitals over there, which don't have the basic needs. Okay, that's one thing. Second thing is education. Currently, I feel like I want to contribute as much in that field because we have to bring in the educational system from the Western side of the world to over there, so they can get better trained and educated on how to be good leaders in the future, right? And give them that Western mentality a little bit. And the way to do that is to, work with schools from here and over there.
Similar like what they did in Kosovo, to be honest
And
with
have
you.
an exchange program between different fields where we can bring students from there to here to get educated, but at the same time we can bring students from here to go there and get that experience as well.
What are you going to do about the European Union? What is your stand on joining the European Union?
So I think it's good, but I think it's going to come with a lot of challenges, to be honest with you, because now you're competing with very developed countries in the EU. It could be an advantage and a disadvantage at the same time. I see it as a positive thing mostly because it will give the people the idea that they're free to travel. However, the negative side of that is that they might not want to come back if they travel freely, which is always a risk. But
can I give you a little tip on that? What I feel about that?
Yeah.
I feel it's going to do great things for it.
Okay.
Why? It's beautiful land.
Yeah.
If it opens its border, you will bring a lot of European investors in there. Even education, I think, could work. We work with England, Scotland, Germany, America,
of course,
all that. Open up a university over there to start.
Yeah.
As the main branch of education for all the education system. Healthcare is number one. I don't care where you go. Healthcare should be number one.
Yeah.
But I think it's going to help more than run away. Because how is the investment for foreigners over there? Is it
So
right
that's
now?
my third point. I think then foreign investment is going to be my main thing also to focus on, because I do really want to attract foreign investors to come into different, not just Tirana, because the problem with right now with Albania is that the entire economy is concentrated in Tirana, which is the capital.
Right.
We need to get away from that and then distribute that economy towards the entire country, which are, you know, different cities that have different unique resources, right? Like my city, we have oil. We have agriculture, which is very, you know, it's very big on there. Let's focus on things that we specialized, you know, for many, many years, but then we got lost.
How many universities they got there about?
Zero.
Zero.
Yes. And my city is actually known to have some of the smartest students of the country.
Did
but
you
they all
know
leave.
that Albania was one of the first universities thousands of years ago? They used to have a lot of generals and princes and all that come there to get educated.
No, I didn't know that.
We have a history of education.
We do.
And maybe we should start bringing that to the forefront.
Exactly.
And I think democracy, bringing you back, bringing people like you back, opening the doors. Just like, look at Switzerland, small countries. These are other little countries. Why are they thriving? Because they brought the economy in there. They brought true democracy, freedom of movement.
Yeah.
And I'd rather live in a place like Albania if I had the freedom of movement and freedom of investment.
Which brings me to my last point that I want to focus on is that I really want to push the government to change the laws around giving people Albanian passports.
I'm dying for one of
So
those.
exactly, I feel like
because you know Dibra was Albania.
Yes.
My parents were born in Tirana. And why am I denied a passport?
Yeah, exactly.
Machilara, across the street from Dibra, that's where my parents used to live. That's where they were born. I mean, grew up.
Yeah.
But we denied a passport that should be our right.
So think about this. Why we're making it so difficult for an Albanian to have an Albanian passport when it's perfectly fine for we have dual citizenship all the time. You have it in Europe. A lot of countries practice that. U.S. has dual citizenship. Actually, U.S. has many citizenship, doesn't matter. But for some reason, for our people, we make it very complicated for us to get an Albanian passport. And I want to change that, because I believe that just by doing that act alone, you're going to bring so much money back into the budget. Think about a million, which is a very low number. 1 million Albanians is definitely going to register to get an Albanian passport. At $500 a cost, you bring $500 million to the budget.
Well, the Constitution of America, let's say I went to another country and I never came back.
Yeah.
And I had 7 children. And them children became adults. They could always fly into America. They could always get their Social Security number. They could always get their righteous being American.
Yeah.
So again, it falls back to democracy.
Yeah.
The change of constitution and some of the things, and true democracy. We're not seeing that at all over there yet.
No, not yet.
I think they're good actors.
Yes, they are.
And that's what we're seeing. Okay, we have the freedom of visiting and moving and spending money, so on. But in general, they still do what they want to do.
What does the term Albanian community mean to you?
It means everybody, not just Albanians from Albania, not just Kosovo or Dibra, Macedonia, or wherever. Albanian community means anybody that is Albanian to me. So I don't know how to separate
that's
any different. I can't, even if you ask me to.
I wanna bring a little bit to your community service that you did. So you helped resettle Albanian refugees in Buffalo. What were some of the biggest challenges and successes of that process?
Well, it was a challenge, but to calm them down, to make them feel safe, to make them feel at home, because they came all at once, and we're a very small Albanian community. When they came, it was me and some of the churches were even helping us to settle them in. And I literally went to the airport, and every time the International Institute and them, they would call me, family's coming. So when they came off the airport, just to see somebody Albanian, gave them that comfort zone. The challenges were, one, settling them in right away and finding empty apartments, because then trying to get furnishings, which we did with donations, some used, some this. Next thing, as they kept coming, it kept growing, and then more people were getting involved. I was actually all over the local news. That I wake up in the morning, I find a bunch of boxes and bags on the front of my house.
Oh, wow.
People were just dropping them off, and it went good at first, and then we started really getting them settled in. Everybody's starting to get comfortable. They ended up with 2-3 TVs, and then they were starting to argue why this one would get more TVs than I would, or this.
No.
It became a little bit of small chaos, but nothing major. But at the end of the day, I am proud of that time, because people found themselves to be safe, because that's basically what majority of the refugees that I saw looked for after going through that chaos. And what makes me proud today is 95% of those families own their homes.
Oh, wow.
And when I mean literally own their homes.
Fully paid?
Some of them have a few mortgages. Some of them paid.
Okay.
80% of them are in business, whether it's a carpet cleaning company, whether it's a restaurant.
Small business.
Yeah.
Very nice.
Some of them buying properties. So, and their children are being educated. That is the biggest thing that I see is more progressive than anything.
Yeah.
And now they all have their paperwork. They go back and forth. They're buying apartments back home, going back and forth 2-3 times a year. So
amazing.
That's the success of it, to be honest with you.
You founded programs like Push USA and worked with Albanian Roots. What do you believe is the most effective way to engage the Albanian-American youth?
That's a good question. That's a good way to put it. It depends what kind of youth we're dealing with. Are we dealing with children that are not cooperating? Or are we dealing with children that are educated?
Break it down into the various types.
Uneducated, I would say best way to deal with them is get them into skilled trades. Because a lot of us, through skilled trades, is how we became successful.
Yeah.
And actually, some of the most successful Albanians here in America are electricians, plumbers.
Which you bring a good point, because that's exactly what I want to introduce over there.
I wanted to introduce that in Debra, because I started a program, me and 2 other fellas, back in 2006. We started this Push Buffalo. It was called People United for Sustainable Housing. What we did is we took these old dilapidated homes that nobody wanted, not even the city. We asked them to give us the house, and we took a bunch of college students and locals, and I started a training, on-the-job training.
No way. That's amazing.
With pay. The college students will come in as volunteers. But we started a program to get kids. Judges used to send us the kids that they didn't want to see go to jail.
Right.
And send them to our program. And we were giving them energy by giving them pay. So when minimum wage was $8, we would pay them the minimum wage to teach them.
Right.
80 to 85% of those kids today are in the skilled trades. Some of them, when they see me, they're proud to tell me how they got a home, how they got a car. And these are kids that majority of us would neglect.
Ignore, yeah.
And I'm talking minorities. I'm not talking just young. I'm talking even adults.
Right.
Because trades is something you could always turn to. Even if you're with what you do. If you can swing a hammer, you could always go get a job somewhere right away and still make yourself $800 a week.
Yeah.
Trades is number one for uneducated. I don't care what kind of trade it is, whether it's a plumber, electric. But those same kids, this is my mentality with kids on the streets that were hustling. Let's say they was on the corners, because it used to be big back in the days, selling marijuanas.
Yeah.
I would call them good businessmen.
Yeah.
What do you mean?
They're definitely.
I says, well, you are out there taking a chance, making money. Why don't you take it with the police looking at you? Why don't you take a chance making money without the police looking at you?
Yeah. That's a good way
Then
to
I
put
would
it.
ask them, how much money you make a week? Oh, I make $300-400, sometimes $500.
Okay.
I said, okay, how many hours you putting in there? Oh, what do you mean? Wake up to go to sleep.
Yeah.
I said, oh, so you're putting 14, 15 hours a day? Yeah. Times 7, that's over 100 hours. How much did you make? I said, you're not even making $5 an hour.
Wow. When you put it that way, yeah, it makes sense.
At the same time, the cop is looking. You're afraid
Yeah.
to walk down the street.
Yeah.
You can make that in a third of a time working. And not only that, guess what? You can say hello to the cop.
Yeah.
This is the mentality of those kids, because a lot of minorities were neglected.
Yeah.
They wouldn't hire them. I'm not saying that about the Albanian community, but we need to open doors, especially as contractors or skilled laborers. Open doors to the general public. The more us businessmen open doors to the general society, not just our own, the more we become a better aspect to the community. So, college, don't give up. College doesn't reach you till you get older. Even if today you graduate, you're not going to get a job. Maybe 2-3 people out of college end up with a direct job. Majority of them don't know where to go.
Yeah.
But then again, when they first started, they didn't know where to go.
Right.
They were just taking classes to create credits. But at the end of the day, be patient with yourself. That's going to catch up to you. Don't leave one job unless you know you got another one. That goes for everybody.
Yeah.
Because nobody will hire you when you're not working. They'll hire you when you are working.
Right.
Because they're like, oh.
So one thing that I think that's lacking, and I want to introduce it, is education planning. Going to the high schools over there and say, I have like a program we can teach kids of how to better plan their education, whether they're going to go to college or go to a trade school, and kind of give them ideas and options so they can be more focused on things they want to
I forgot
pursue.
to add to one incentive that this, big contractors also got involved with what I was doing. They would call me for kids. I said, well, I got some that still need training. And my sales to the contractor was, don't you need a helper? He says, yeah. I said, well, why don't you train one, pay him, and at the same time, you got a helper.
Right.
So it's a win-win for everybody.
Yeah.
And in Albania, there's a lot of new construction going on.
Yeah.
Believe me, they're looking for helpers left and right.
Yes.
You start a youth group, somebody that is able to control these young men that are looking for jobs, and a contractor will say, hey, you got somebody for about a week?
Yeah.
That's a week of pay. That's a week of somebody swinging a hammer or feeding an electric line.
Yeah.
One of those trades that kid is going to fall into. He's going to say, I did this. Next guy's going to hire him. Oh, you know a little bit about this? That's how you get the youth
Yeah.
Right.
involved in Albania. And I think that would be, I was looking to bring it back home. But, you know,
we can
My
still do
life
it.
changed a little. I lost my wife and made my children got a little bit disturbed by it. But thank God we're all still strong and united, because it's not easy to lose somebody.
It's
Yeah.
definitely not easy.
Especially the girls were so united with her.
And they're young too.
She was young, but irrelevant to all that, that's how you get the kids off the streets over there.
You're also known as a scholar of culture and religion. I think you supported the construction for both mosques and churches in your community.
I work a lot with the ministries. I do.
How important is interfaith to you?
Very important. I think we have one of the best records in Albania for that. You know, that we don't condemn each other. We respect each other's religions. And I think interfaith is what could only bring everybody together. The more we separate, the worse we are. Look at what's happening in the Middle East.
Yeah.
You know, they use the religion for their own personal use, and it's got nothing to do with what the religion teaches us, whether it's Catholic or Christian or Muslim or even the Jewish community. It's, if you look at the real religions, they're against the violence.
Yeah.
If you look at the fanatics that think they know religion, they're all for violence. So interfaith is great. I built a couple of churches. I've built a mosque, and I put a few other mosques together from different communities, whether it's African American, whether it's Bangladeshi, whether it's Yemen, whether it's Palestine, Kashmirian. I work with so many different, and what I find is religion, yes, but the problem I see is that the cultures of some of the people that utilize their own culture and bring it into the religion. And I kind of preach that to them. Please do not bring your culture into the religions, whether it's Christianity or not, because we're all his children at the end of the day. Whatever symbol we pray to, we're all praying for the God that we know is up there, and we just don't know
it's the same God.
Who to follow.
Right.
Yeah.
And I'd say one more thing is, at the end of the day, if you're preaching us wrong, it's you that's going to suffer. It ain't going to be your followers, because they're there to find the blessings of God and as they know it.
So, I mean, I know you mentioned earlier a little bit about the Albanian-American community and how important it is for us to partake in the political system here. I know there's been attempts for Albanian community members that try to get into public office. Were we successful at all in the area? What do you think?
We were successful talking about it.
Yeah.
But we weren't successful taking action about it. I tried to tell you that earlier. It's more of hope. But there is some that understand the system and that it takes revenue to be able to play politics in any format that you're looking, whether it's a small seat or a big seat.
Yeah.
Sometimes people that you think will help really won't help. People that you least think won't help are the ones that come forward because they have hope. They want to see something, and they don't mind it, because at the end of the day, you've been to cafes, you've been to the bars with your friends and all that, and you've spent $100 on just one round of coffee or one round of drinks, right?
Yeah.
The Albanians have to wake up and realize that, why don't they just spend $100 on somebody that's looking to make a life better for everybody, looking to make a better name for our community?
Yeah.
They don't do that. For some reason, they feel like they're not getting nothing out of it. What did you get out of those 10 drinks you bought? One glass?
Yeah.
And he doesn't even drink, so no.
But just to give you an example.
Yeah.
You know, they need to wake up. The only way most of the Albanians end up giving money is when you put them in the prime light, when you put them in a spot.
Okay.
How do you put them in a spot? Okay, you do a fundraiser.
Yeah.
Then you need a bad guy to talk about it.
Yeah. Oh, okay. So you need to get it.
In other words, you put pressure on them.
Right.
We like to show off.
Yeah.
There's no need to show off. You got to understand, this is not a little game we're playing. When I ran for office, I ran for my issues. I ran for my community in Buffalo.
Yeah.
And of course, I wanted to be a voice for the Albanian community. And of course, anything that is prosperous to us, that'll help us, I would have been there for it. But at the end of the day, just to have somebody in office, well, now we have a few judges. You know how proud I am of that? You know, I love talking to other people. Oh, we had a councilman, we had a legislator, we got another legislator in Yonkers somewhere over there.
We have a mayor.
We have local mayors. This is a pride.
Yeah.
Now, even for back home, us, having you as a congressman in Albania, that also benefits me. because now my friend is over there.
Yeah.
Or my cousin is over there. Or Emin is in Congress. Example.
Yeah.
Debra would have been proud, which I had a lot of verbal support and Facebook support. That helps.
Yeah, of
Even
course.
media support helps. People that can't afford it, share it.
Yeah.
Talk about it. This is my guy. This is that. But at the end of the day, it's all up to you. You're going to have to make those phone calls.
Okay.
You really have to make those phone calls. Why don't you call him? Why don't you raise the phone? Because a lot of times we get sidetracked in a campaign. We don't know where to go first. Will I do a fundraiser? Will I go to this event? Will I get on the Facebook? Will I do something? We're so occupied, it's hard to organize everything and everybody. I did my part. I'll leave it what I did to myself and him. But I ask everybody, please, even your family,
Yes.
let them stop talking in the kitchen about it and let them come out and do something about it.
We have some who definitely support it.
Yeah, well, you know what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, of course.
Every person you know you're running politics. I know you're not used to asking. I come from a family that would never ask for anything.
Yeah.
But politics is politics. And at the end of the day, you're going to make it better for us. That's the way I see it. So do your thing, and let's hope we can at least get on the map and make some changes.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that. That has been the hardest part, as you know. We had that conversation
It
before.
took me years to break.
And it's something that I can't get used to. But as you learn, you grow, right? This is my first stab at political campaigning. So, we'll see how it goes.
You got to be tough.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
You got to be tough. You got to stick to what you want to do and forget about your personal feelings.
Yeah.
You got to let your issues control you too. Because at the end of the day, it's not about feelings, it's about making it better. It's about the cause and not about you.
Yeah.
So really got to be tough.
I mean, looking back, what legacy do you hope to leave the Albanian-American community and for Albania itself?
I think more important to me is the legacy that my children will carry after, because we don't do the right thing for them. We're not going to leave anything behind for them. But the legacy I look at is people that been worldwide and left a footprint behind. Whether they created something, whether they left great kids, or stuff that we've done that people will talk about. At the end of the day, the cars we drive and the luggage of money we have, we can never take with us.
Right.
True.
The only thing we can take with us is who we were and what we leave behind about us. Our parents, it's too early for people to talk about them. Yes, we talk about them, but I assure you, down the road, maybe your grandchildren will hear about what your parents and my parents did. Legacy is fighting for the causes, of the right causes, and just being righteous about it. Don't give anybody avenues to talk bad about the things you did. Democracy is the best thing we can give to our community.
Yep.
Equality is the best thing we can give to our community. Not because you're from Albania, I'm from Debra, I'm from Kosovo. No. That don't mean nothing. Not to me. I don't care where you're from. You're Albanian, you're equal. I'm talking about just for our ethnicity.
Yeah.
But in general, everybody should be treated that way.
Yeah.
In general.
Emin, thank you so much. Thank you for being here and for your support. I maybe hope to see you in Albania during this time. And
25th, you're leaving?
Yeah.
We will see I still haven't made up my mind. I got to secure in my job sites a little bit, but I'll leave that open for now.
Thank you. But thank you for being here.
Thank you so much for coming.
Thank you for having me.
Bye-bye.